Voters have some very tough decisions to make nationally in the state of New Jersey and the New York metropolitan region, and very often they're not sure how to find valuable information, or they say they want to get involved, and the gentleman you're about to see helps people do that. He is our good friend Harry Pozycki, chairman of the Citizens Campaign. Harry, good to see you.
Good to be with you, Steve.
The short version of the Citizens Campaign is?
Well, the Citizens Campaign is designed to give people the power to create a culture of service here and take back their own government. Everybody knows that the government's corruption problems are systemic, so we're not going to solve it just with prohibitions. We've got to solve it by stepping up to the plate, and the Citizens Campaign gives people the power to do that.
So you know, Harry, we've had this conversation before, but the culture of corruption, be it New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, wherever it is, people see those 44 people arrested in New Jersey, you know, and there it is. See, that's us, right? And they go, oh, it doesn't matter who's elected. They're all corrupt. They're all no good. The mayor of, you know, Hoboken and this place and that place and the city council president in Jersey, all the whole bit. What were you thinking that day?
Well, it was very embarrassing to me as a resident of the state of New Jersey and frustrating. But what I think is happening right now is it's finally making the impression on the public that this is a system-wide problem, and the only way it's going to be solved is with a system-wide response, and that means that we, the people, have to come in. We can't just expect somebody.
Come in and do what? I mean, can we play this out a little bit, because I was watching some video from one of the national networks on the so-called tea parties. And I'm watching the tea parties, and I'm hearing people scream and yell, we're mad as hell, and we're not going to take it anymore. You know, Howard Beale from the movie Network, you know. I think, is that it? Screaming, yelling, shouting people down, members of Congress, the Senate, in healthcare meetings, these tea parties, they all have an absolute right to do it. That's citizen participation. Is that what you're advocating?
No, you know, I'm a child of the 60s, and I learned a long time ago that protest is not enough. Participation is the answer. And when I say that we've got to create a culture of service and take back our government, I'm talking about people stepping into the appointed policy boards, everything from the local planning board to the state pension board and the Port Authority. These are positions that people can populate and to come in and take real power. Also take over the political parties. There are local committee seats that people can occupy with a couple of hours a week participation and control who gets endorsed for mayor all the way up to governor. So we have to learn about where the reins of power are, and we've got to take those reins into our own hands. If we don't do that, we're lost as a state.
What progress have we been making in that regard?
Well, we just passed two laws that are very significant. One is called the Citizen Service Act, which for the first time will put every appointed position in government policy boards on a website with the vacancies listed in a public application form that anyone wants to serve. So whether you're interested in youth services or controlling development or controlling tax dollars with pension investments, you can just find a place to serve, go online and apply and be a citizen leader. We also just passed the Party Democracy Act, a law that will be signed into...
The Party Democracy Act.
Yeah, Party Democracy Act. Most people don't know the most powerful political centers in the state are the county political parties, and they're controlled by county chairs, sometimes called bosses, because they can operate without rules. Now, under the Party Democracy Act, there have to be rules that guarantee the representative rights of the neighborhood elected officials. So if you get elected with 24 or 30 votes, which is what it takes at the local level to get elected, you can now vote on who gets the endorsement, and you can vote on who gets to fill legislative vacancies. A third of our legislature was put into place, not by the popular vote, but by these local committee people, but in the dark and without rules. And now that there's rules, there's real power at the local level if people only take it.
You know, as one of the networks I was watching the other day, the Fox News channel, Sean Hannity was on. He's a great broadcaster, whether people believe what he says or not. He's good at what he does and has a big audience. And I remember he had the Great American Panel on, and virtually everyone on this so-called Great American Panel, they were saying, throw them out. Got to get them out. Got to throw all of them out. We got to take our government back. And I kept hearing, take our government back.
Yeah,
that means different things.
You're not going to get it by throwing them out. The problem is that
right
now we have allowed, as a public, we pull back from the public arena, from the civic arena, and what's happened is a culture of careerism, of self-interest politics has come in. Part-time elected officials and appointed officials get pensions and benefits, so self-interest is incentivized. Dual office holding, you can create a career out of it.
That's wrong. You shouldn't be a member of the legislature and also the mayor of your town.
Right, well, and also be a member of the legislature and be able to get government consulting contracts because you're a member of the legislature. Then it starts to become a career. Then it's self-interest politics instead of public interest politics. So we've got to do away with all of the incentives for this kind of self-interest politics.
What's wrong with throw the bums out?
because you're going to get new bums back in as long as there's an incentive for people to make money out of being in public service.
You know what, Harry? You make it sound like it's more complicated and more difficult than just throw them out and we have to take our government back. You make it sound as if those are slogans that make us feel better at a rally or on a talk show, but that has really nothing to do with really getting it better, getting it right.
That's true. I mean, one pundit recently said that, it's not just a few bad apples so you can throw them out and then replace them. The whole orchard's rotten. So what we have to do is we have to come into the public arena. Look, one citizen serving on a planning board who knows what they're doing, who's honest and committed to do the right thing, can disclose a fishy development deal to the media, can ask the kind of probing questions that will protect us against the kind of corruption you saw in these recent arrests.
Right.
But if there isn't a citizen doing that there, you can have all the regulations in the world and you can throw the bums out and put new ones in, and you're going to keep this culture of corruption going.
Let's do this. Let's talk a little bit about the governor's race in New Jersey, all right? So far, as we watch the campaign, I see Corzine spots destroying Chris Christie's reputation, and the Republicans not to be outdone, blaming the governor for everything that has happened in the state, including everyone who's ever lost a job. It's the governor's fault. And Chris Daggett, the independent candidate, trying to raise money and stay in the game, talk about issues as best he can. Bottom line is this. How was the public served by seeing campaign spots that rip and destroy the other guy's reputation?
Well, the bottom line is the public is never served by negative campaigning. But
why do we do it so much?
The public gets the negative campaigning because the public has withdrawn from the civic arena. There are very few people that really pay attention and are interested in the race, so the game becomes one of just shifting a point or two in the polls, and that's most affected through negative campaigning. If you have an informed and engaged electorate that really understands the political process and is paying attention throughout, then that negative campaigning would not work.
Because people would know enough to say, hey, first of all, you telling me that guy's a bum or that guy's crooked, that's not going to lower my property taxes. That's not going to improve the quality of our schools. Right?
And they'd be asking, what's your constructive proposal? Because they'd be in the process of making constructive proposals, whether on their own platform, if they were in the local political party, or on the planning board, what's the master plan priority for development? So they would be oriented towards substantive ideas instead of just the back and forth negativity of politics.
If people want to get more involved and don't want to simply complain and scream and yell, but they want to actually be part of the solution, how can your organization help them?
They should log on to jointhecampaign.com. We've got 4 courses
actually
that you
got
can
up there,
take.
right there.
You
guys are a nonprofit. You guys aren't making money.
Nonprofit. I'm a full-time volunteer myself. We have people who are experienced government officials and government lawyers who volunteer their time to teach citizens how they can take back control of their government, how they can take powerful positions if they only have 2 hours a week and they don't have to run for office. We've got 4 half-hour courses. You can pick one of them to appointed office, to party office, to being a citizen legislator, and you can learn how you can be the one that determines the policies of our government. But as long as we stay out of the game, as long as we don't know where the power levers are, it's going to be a political game, and that's all you're ever going to see.
You make it sound like as long as we stay on the sidelines throwing bombs, complaining, arguing, not arguing, but criticizing, we are part of the problem.
We are. Look, New Jersey has the most educated citizenry in the country. That's
by the way, we have an audience in New York. It's just as important there, right?
Oh, it's important everywhere. But look, New Jersey doesn't have broadcast TV. They don't have the ability to watch the game, so they have to even use their intelligence more. Another little-known statistic, we got the lowest suicide rate in the country. That means that we've got attitude. If we take the brains we got and we take the attitude that we have and we step up to the plate, we can take back control of our government.
Harry Pozycki is the chairman of the Citizens Campaign. They are doing important work in terms of getting people involved and engaged and not just complaining, because that never solves anything. Harry, every time you come in, we learn something new and we're inspired. Great job.
Thank you, Steve. Good to be with you.
That was great.